I stood behind the mahogany bench, robe draped over my shoulders, the gavel cold in my palm. The courtroom buzzed with murmurs, the way it always does before a big hearing. But none of that mattered. Not today, because that's when I saw him. Nate Callahan. Armani suit, polished smirk, the same arrogant eyes I remembered. Except now, they were glued to me with pure disbelief. He paused mid-stride, legal brief in hand, mouth slightly open. It took him a full 10 seconds to believe what he was seeing. And when he did, he sneered. So, you became a janitor after all, huh? I met his gaze, calm, steady. I tapped the nameplate on the bench. Judge Ethan Walker. No, I said coolly. I'm the judge here. The blood drained from his face. His jaw locked. He didn't expect this. Not from me. The man his wife once called directionless. A project. A man with potential that never delivered. His wife. My ex-wife. Emily. The woman who used to sleep beside me and whisper lies like they were love songs. The same woman who mocked my dreams the second they stopped being convenient for her timeline. The woman who swore she just needed space, but somehow ended up marrying him 6 months after our divorce papers dried. Let me rewind. Just a bit. So you get the full picture of the betrayal. I wasn't supposed to end up here. I dropped out of law school 5 years ago after my father died. I couldn't juggle grief, bills, and books. So I left. Emily said she understood, but I could feel it in her eyes. Disappointment, then disgust. She stayed, though. At least physically. The emotional exit started slow. First the late meetings, then the phone she never left face down anymore, then the new perfume she wore to girls' night out. I noticed. Of course I did. But I was too damn in love, or stupid, to call it what it was. Cheating. Until one night, I found a receipt. Tucked in her coat pocket. 2 glasses of wine. Lobster. 1 entree. 1 dessert. 2 people. Except she told me she was having dinner with Maya, her best friend who didn't even eat seafood. I remember standing there, in our kitchen, holding that crumpled paper like it was the final nail in the coffin I'd been building in denial. She walked in, heels clicking like gunshots. Hey babe, she chirped. No guilt. No shame. Why are you up? I held the receipt up without a word. She didn't even blink. Oh, that was for a coworker's birthday. We shared dessert. Chill, right? The coworker you didn't mention, and the one you shared a lava cake with. She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they'd fall out. God, Ethan, you're so insecure. No wonder you dropped out of law school. You can't handle pressure. That line, you dropped out, became her favorite knife. You can't finish what you start. You're scared of failure. I need a real man who can protect me, provide for me, challenge me. Turns out, that real man was her boss, Nate. I didn't know that yet, not during the lava cake lie, but it unraveled fast. Too fast. I started getting messages. From strangers. Screenshots of texts she sent. Flirty pictures she claimed were private. One message simply said, "Sorry, man. Didn't know she was married." I confronted her. And she laughed. Flat out laughed. "Why are you so surprised?" she said. "You think I'm going to waste my prime years waiting for you to maybe become someone?" I'd never felt rage like that. Not before. Not since. But I didn't hit her. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just packed a bag, left my key on the table, and walked into the cold night with nothing but my breath and a heartbeat that felt like it had been broken by a hammer. I disappeared for a year. No social media. No contact. I worked construction. Nights. Weekends. Saved every cent. And I reapplied to law school. I told no one. Not even my own damn mother. I studied like a man possessed. Because I was. Not by revenge. Not yet. But by the need to prove to myself that I wasn't what she said I was. And now? Now I was the judge. And Nate, the same pompous bastard who probably held Emily while she told me she was working late, was standing in my courtroom, swallowing his pride like a bitter pill. I smiled just slightly. This was only the beginning. I still remember the first time I saw her in that red dress. It clung to her like it was made just for her body. Scarlet, silky, low-cut in the back. She was standing in front of the mirror, applying lipstick like she was getting ready for war, not a book club meeting. I leaned against the door frame and smiled like an idiot. "You going somewhere fancy for Dostoevsky tonight?" I joked. She didn't laugh. "It's Maya's idea," she said flatly. "She wanted to try this wine bar downtown. You wouldn't like it. Too loud. I should have known then. Maya hated downtown. always said parking gave her anxiety. But Emily said it with such ease, like lies were just punctuation in her day. I watched her walk out the door, her heels clicking down the steps like a metronome counting down to betrayal. That night, I sat on the couch with a beer in silence. I scrolled through Instagram. No posts. Nothing tagged. Then I opened Maya's profile. She was in Vermont, 3 hours away, with her fiancé. Emily didn't even bother syncing lies anymore. I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, thoughts racing. I thought about calling her, asking her directly. But what would she say? You're imagining things. You're paranoid. It's just wine. And I'd believe it. Like a fool. Like always. The next morning, I checked her code again. Another receipt. Same wine bar. Different date. Same pattern. 2 glasses, 1 dessert. One name printed faintly on the bottom. Nate C. That's when the thread snapped. I Googled him. Easy. Nate Callahan. Her firm's golden boy. Handsome, Harvard, smug. His LinkedIn photo alone made me want to put my fist through the screen. I remembered the way she talked about him. He's brilliant, she once said. I learned so much from him. I wish you had his drive. Suddenly, I saw it all. The late nights. The extra perfume. The emotional distance. She wasn't drifting. She was already gone. I just hadn't caught up to the truth yet. So I planned. I didn't confront her right away. I started documenting. Photos of receipts. Screenshots of her GPS history from our shared account she forgot I had access to. Passwords she never changed. A picture of her smiling in that same red dress, sitting across from Nate, hand resting on his arm. All while telling me she was at book club. I waited until a Friday night. She came home buzzing from wine, face flushed, hair slightly tangled. Her lipstick was smudged. I stood in the hallway, folder in hand. What's that? She asked, toeing off her heels. Proof, I said. Of everything. She didn't even flinch. She tossed her purse on the counter and looked me dead in the eye. Are you really going to cry about this? She said. You think you're some saint? You're pathetic, Ethan. Always waiting for someone else to fix your life. I trusted you, I said. Yeah? That's your problem. I should have screamed. I should have broken something. Instead, I just stood there, feeling the heat rise to my face, the pulse behind my eyes like a migraine full of grief. I gave up everything for you, I said. You don't get to rewrite the story like I was holding you back. She laughed. Actually laughed. You gave up? No, Ethan. You quit. On law school. On yourself. On me. That's when I knew. There was no fixing this. No crawling back. No tears to win her sympathy. So I left. I booked a motel for the night, and by morning, I was gone. Apartment cleared out. Number changed. Bank account split. Ghosted. She didn't even call. Not once. 6 months later, I saw a wedding photo online. Her in white. Him in black. That same smug smile on his face, his hand on her waist like he won a prize. She looked radiant. But her eyes? They didn't look at the camera. They looked through it. Like she still wasn't satisfied. And I bet she wasn't. People like her never are. When I walked back into law school, nobody recognized me. I was older, sharper, hungrier. And every late night at the library, every mock trial, every brutal exam, I did it with her betrayal burning in the back of my mind like rocket fuel. I graduated top of my class, passed the bar, clerked for a year. And now? Now I'm the man she said I'd never become. Her husband sneered at me like he still believed I was some dropout loser. But today, in that courtroom, I was the one with the gavel. And he was just another suit hoping the judge liked him. I leaned back in my chair, breathing slow, steady. Because this was only the beginning. He couldn't stop glancing up at me. Nate, the same man who once probably thought I'd spend my life fixing copy machines, now trying to look composed while standing in my courtroom like he belonged here more than I did. His client was a mid-tier corporate exec being sued for breach of contract. Nothing headline-worthy. But the irony? That was Pulitzer level. I could see it burning in him. Not just confusion, resentment. I became the one thing he thought I never could be. He had Emily, but I had something he didn't. Power. Not the kind that wears cufflinks and flashes a Rolex. The kind that makes men stand up when you walk into a room. I gave no indication I knew him. Just read the docket. Kept my tone even, clinical. But inside, I wanted to laugh. Or maybe scream. Because this moment, was stitched from every night I lay awake in that crappy motel room, replaying her words in my head like a broken cassette. You're not built for this life. And yet, here I was. After the hearing, I walked past him in the hallway. He was alone, no Emily in sight. He turned as I passed, like he couldn't help himself. "You've come a long way from dropping out," he said, voice dry. I stopped, met his eyes. "And you've come a long way from banging married women," I replied. His jaw twitched. "She didn't tell you that part, huh?" He said nothing, just stood there like he wasn't sure whether to punch me or shake my hand. I didn't give him the chance to do either. I walked away. Outside, I sat in my car for a few minutes, engine off, just listening to the quiet. The same thought kept circling my head. Why did I ever love her? Was it the way she smiled in public but spat daggers in private? The way she made me feel like I was always on the edge of almost good enough? No, it was the way she played the part so perfectly. Sweet, supportive, seductive when she needed to be, and soulless the moment you stopped being useful. I wasn't the first man she'd hollowed out. I doubt I was the last. 2 weeks after that courthouse meeting, I got a message from her sister, Rachel. I hadn't spoken to her in over a year, not since the divorce. She never took sides. Always neutral, distant. But this message was just one sentence. "You should know what she's saying about you." Attached was a voice memo. A conversation, Emily and 2 friends at some rooftop bar. The audio was clear, every word like a nail through my skull. "Oh, Ethan," she laughed. "He's a judge now, or something. But he was always good at pretending." More laughter. "I don't miss it. God, he was boring. All that ambition with none of the follow-through. Nate's a man, you know. Ethan's a project." Another voice. "But didn't you say he was good to you?" "Emily, so? A dog can be good. Doesn't mean I want to marry one." I stared at the wall after that. Just stared. The silence in my apartment was suffocating. I'd built a life, rebuilt myself from ruins, and yet, somehow, her words still found a way to crawl under my skin. I called Rachel. "What do you want me to do with that?" I asked her. She hesitated. "Nothing. I just thought, you deserve to know she still hasn't grown up." "Thanks," I said, though I didn't mean it. Knowing didn't bring peace. It just reopened wounds I thought had scarred over. But the more I sat with it, the more something else settled in, not pain, not even anger. Clarity. She never changed. She just got better at hiding it. That night, I pulled out the last box I'd kept from our marriage. It had dust on the top, shoved in the back of my closet like a coffin no one wanted to bury. Inside, old photos, anniversary cards, a playlist she made once called For Our Future. I threw it all in the fireplace. Watched it burn. I wasn't mourning her anymore. I was cremating the last trace of who I used to be when I loved her. Let her keep sneering behind closed doors. I had a nameplate on my desk now that said Judge Walker. A name she'd never wear again. 2 days after the fire, I got a text. Blocked number. No name. Just one sentence. "You still think you're better than me?" I didn't answer. Didn't have to. But I knew it was her. Emily always had a way of reappearing like a storm you thought passed. Sudden, sharp, and always worse than before. That message? It wasn't a question. It was bait. And I wasn't the same idiot who used to take it. Still, it got in my head. I spent the next few nights restless. I'd stare at the ceiling, feeling that familiar unease in my chest. Not pain, not regret. It was residue. Like she left a stain on my life I couldn't fully scrub out. And then came the real twist. I was walking through the downtown plaza on my lunch break. Coffee in hand, sun on my face. Normal day, until I heard my name. "Ethan." I turned. Emily. Standing there in sunglasses, hair pulled up, wearing some designer workout set that screamed money I didn't earn. She looked exactly the same. Stunning, composed, poisonous. "What do you want?" I asked. Calm. Cold. She took the glasses off slowly, like she thought I'd be impressed. "Can we talk?" I laughed. "You texting me like a stalker wasn't enough?" Her face hardened. "That wasn't me. You expect me to believe that?" She shifted her weight, visibly annoyed that her performance wasn't landing. "I didn't come here to fight." "Then you picked the wrong person." She stepped closer. "It's not like I hate you, Ethan." "No," I said. "You just despised everything about me," while smiling to my face. There was a pause. Then she said something that almost made me choke. "I think I made a mistake." I stared at her, waiting for the punchline. "Excuse me." She sighed, suddenly small. "I thought Nate would be more. He talks down to me. He works all the time. I feel invisible." I nodded slowly. "So you came here to complain about your marriage to the man you cheated with. To the man you lied to, mocked, and discarded. Do I have that right?" She didn't answer. I stepped closer. You left me for him. Said he was a real man. Now he doesn't worship you like I did. So suddenly I'm interesting again. She looked at the ground. I just thought maybe we could. No, I cut her off. We can't. We won't. And I hope he treats you exactly the way you treated me. Every cold look. Every backhanded insult. Every damn night you smiled while killing me from the inside out. Tears welled in her eyes. Too late. She reached for my arm. I stepped back. You don't get to touch me anymore. People were watching now. I didn't care. I walked away. Didn't look back. That night, I opened a bottle of bourbon I'd been saving. Poured a glass. Sat by the window and thought about everything she said. And then I realized something that both chilled and freed me. She wasn't sorry. She was lonely. She didn't miss me. She missed the pedestal. The blind adoration. The version of herself she saw through my eyes before I realized what she really was. And when Nate stopped feeding that fantasy, she came crawling back. That's what people like her do. They orbit admiration like parasites. I blocked her number. For real this time. A week later, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Just my name. Inside, a photo. Emily and Nate. Sitting at a restaurant. He was mid-argument, clearly pissed. She looked bored, leaning on one hand, eyes glazed over. On the back, in her handwriting. Still think he's better than you? I burned that too. Because honestly, she deserved him. It was around 2 a.m. when I heard the knocking. Not the drunk kind, not frantic, rhythmic. Calculated. I got up, half-dressed, heart already pounding. I hadn't told anyone where I moved. Not even Rachel. My place was out of the way, quiet, unlisted. I looked through the peephole. Emily. Of course it was. I opened the door just enough to see her eyes. Mascara smudged, face blotchy. She looked like a magazine cover after the Photoshop was removed. Not perfect. Not polished. Real. And I didn't care. What the hell are you doing here? I asked, not moving an inch. She swallowed. He locked me out. I blinked. And that's my problem, Hal. I had nowhere else to go. Rachel's got a couch. Or your coworkers. Try Nate's friends. You know, the ones you used to sneak around with while I was cooking you dinner. She flinched. Good. But she didn't leave. Can I just sit down? 5 minutes. No. She glanced behind her. Please, Ethan. Just talk to me. I'm not here to start anything. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me, arms crossed. You've got 5 minutes. Use them. She wiped her nose on her sleeve. No tissue, no act. He hit me. I didn't react. I didn't move. I didn't trust her. Hit you? I asked flat. She nodded, almost too quickly. We got into a fight. I told him I saw you downtown. He got jealous. Said I was comparing him to you. Then he shoved me into a wall. I looked at her neck. No bruises. No swelling. Call the cops, I said. I didn't want to get him in trouble. Of course not. Because you still need him. Her eyes narrowed. I thought you'd care. I do care, I said. I care that you lie to anyone who breathes near you. I care that you destroyed our marriage and rewrote history like you were the victim. And I care that you're here now because your fantasy turned into a horror movie, and I was dumb enough to be the backup plan. She didn't cry. She just stared, dead quiet, like she was calculating the next move. Is there any part of you, she said slowly, that misses me? I shook my head. I miss the idea of you. The woman I thought you were. Not the one who said I was boring in bed and begged your boss for attention while calling me a failure. Her mouth opened, stunned. You read those texts? Every one. The silence between us felt like it could snap in half. She looked down. You really hate me, don't you? I didn't answer. Not directly. Instead, I said, you made me hate myself. That's worse. She reached out suddenly, like instinct, fingers brushing my hand. I stepped back. Go home, Emily. Whatever that means now. She looked up, and for the first time, her voice cracked. Where's home, Ethan? I shrugged. Anywhere I'm not. She left. No screaming, no begging. Just turned and walked into the night. I watched her fade down the street, arms hugging herself. I knew she'd find somewhere to sleep. Women like her always land on someone's couch. Always find another heart to squat in. She didn't love, she occupied. The next morning, I had a voicemail from Nate. How he got my number? No idea. But his voice was slurred, angry. If you come near her again, I swear to God. Beep. I deleted it. Later that day, at work, a clerk passed me a sealed envelope. No return name. Inside, another photo. Emily again, this time in Nate's driveway, luggage by her feet. A black eye. Or really good makeup. No note. Just a second message, scribbled on the back. He's your problem now. I stared at that for a long time, then dropped it in the shredder. No second chances. No twisted redemption arc. This wasn't a rom-com. It was a warning. People like her, they don't come back to love you. They come back because they ran out of people to lie to. A week passed. No calls. No texts. No more photos shoved under my door like cursed postcards. I thought that was it. But people like Emily don't exit. They circle. And when they think you're finally breathing again, that's when they strike. It was a Thursday morning when I got pulled from chambers. My clerk looked pale, confused. There's a woman here asking for you. Says it's urgent. Says she's your wife. I sighed. Ex-wife. Do you want me to call security? No, I said, grabbing my coat. I'll handle it. She was outside, leaning against the courthouse wall like she belonged there. Hair done up, sunglasses on, acting composed, like she hadn't shown up at my door at 2 a.m. a week ago claiming she'd been hit. Didn't expect to see you here, I said, hands in my pockets. I need a favor, she said, flat as stone. Of course she did. You know how many years it's been since you said anything to me that wasn't a favor? She took off her sunglasses, revealing a fresh bruise on her cheekbone. Real this time. Not makeup. Ugly. Swollen. I didn't say anything. I left him, she said. I walked out last night. Took nothing but my bag. Congratulations. What do you want, a medal? She flinched, then stepped closer. I need help, Ethan. Go to the police. They don't care. He has people. Connections. I laughed. You're married to a mid-tier corporate lawyer, Emily. Not a mob boss. You don't know what he's like behind closed doors. Neither do you, I snapped. Because you never gave it time. You married the first man who told you I wasn't enough. She looked like she wanted to scream. Instead, she whispered, he's going to ruin me. Good, I said. Let him. I'm not asking for much. You already took everything, I said, voice low now. You took the version of me that believed in people. You buried him under your ambition, your insults, and your goddamn red dress. A pause. Then she reached into her purse and pulled out a crumpled piece of paper. Read it, she said, pushing it into my chest. I looked at her, then unfolded it. An email. From Nate to someone named Greg Dunford. Internal. Legal department. It detailed a plan to shift client trust funds into dummy accounts. Classic embezzlement. Slick. Complex. But obvious to someone who knew what to look for. And at the bottom, in all caps, Emily doesn't suspect anything. Let's keep it that way. I read it twice. 3 times. What is this? I asked, brow furrowed. He's dirty, she said. He's laundering through the firm. And I have access. Why bring this to me? Because, she said quietly, you're the only person I ever trusted to do the right thing. I stared at her. And for the first time in years, I couldn't tell if she was lying. Why would I help you? I asked. Because you hate him more than you hate me. She wasn't wrong. I'd seen him smirk his way through trials, bully witnesses, grease hands to get favorable deals. And now I had something real, something that could bury him. I folded the email and slid it into my jacket. I'll look into it, I said. That's it. That's it. She looked at me for a long second, like she wanted to say something else. But she didn't. She just turned and walked away. That night, I sat in my kitchen with a whiskey in one hand and the email in the other. If this was real, Nate was about to lose more than his career. He was about to lose everything. But part of me wondered, was she setting me up? Was this just another manipulation, a new play in her never-ending game? Or had the queen finally turned on her king? And the scariest part? I didn't know which possibility I liked more. The next morning, I made a choice. I forwarded the email to a federal investigator I trusted, one who owed me a favor from a case last year. No signature, no context, just the attachment, a burner email address, and the words, follow the money. Start with Nate Callahan. I didn't plan to wait for the fallout. I had hearings, rulings, a life to run. But sure enough, 3 days later, the storm came. News broke quietly at first. Internal investigation at the firm, some whispers about accounting irregularities. But within a week, full-blown scandal. Local media. Headlines. High-profile attorney under federal investigation for fraud. Law firm partner accused of embezzling millions through client accounts. Sources say wife may have been unwitting access point. Unwitting. Sure. The irony hit me like a punchline I didn't know I'd been waiting for. I got a text the same day it hit the news. From Emily. It's happening. Thank you. I stared at it. Deleted it. That was the last time I ever heard from her. I don't know if she ran. If she stayed to watch him burn. If she tried to spin it into a talk show redemption arc. Maybe she finally realized she wasn't built to play with fire. Or maybe she just found another man to manipulate. I didn't care anymore. Because for once, I wasn't reacting to her chaos. I was done. I went back to work, back to routine. The courtroom gave me the kind of order she never could. Every motion, every ruling, it all made sense. No lies. No games. Just facts. But I won't lie to you. Some nights, when the city gets too quiet, I still hear echoes. Of her laugh. Her voice in the kitchen. That red dress sliding off her shoulders as she said, "I'm yours." She never was. I see that now. She was her own storm, and I was just the fool who tried to build a home in the middle of it. So here's what I'd tell you. If you ever find yourself where I was, trust the silence. Trust the small lies. They're breadcrumbs to the big betrayals. And if someone ever makes you feel like you're too hard to love, they're not the one. They're just the one in the way. I dropped out of law school for her. Then I rebuilt everything without her. And the man she left behind? He's gone. The one who replaced him? He's the judge now.